What do you think about the government shutdown, Mother?
I think it's a bunch of crap.
Well,
because there should have been cooperation from both sides. And you have the Democrats that are standing solid on it. We want to give illegals free
that's
insurance.
not what's happening, actually.
That is part of it.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Oh, we are officially 10 minutes into the Democrat shutdown because they just can't vote with everyone else because apparently they don't realize that we voted for this. This is what we wanted. We don't want to, as taxpayers, fund people who are not here legally's health care when the rest of us have to pay out the butt for health care for ourselves and our children. This is the first shutdown since 2019. Doesn't really affect me at all, but it's pretty ridiculous.
So as you go through your day and you realize, oh, the government shut down, but I still went to work and all the street lights are working and everything is still fine. It's not fine because there's a lot of things in the background that now don't work. For example, insurance for your health is not going to pay out if you're Medicare or Medicaid. But did you know if your house floods, it's also not going to? So the NFIP, National Flood Insurance Program, which anyone in Florida knows because our houses flood during hurricane season, is a mostly federally funded program. So yeah, you have private insurance that you could get, which is stupid expensive and not subsidized. So with the shutdown, let's say, because it's October, the Pacific Northwest gets hit by a random blizzard. The pipes in your house freeze. The faucets are frozen. Your house is now flooded. And there's no way to get a claim through. And winter is coming. So for those of you that still think you can be apolitical because, oh, I don't care about what happens with the government cares. Because they're playing with your lives. This is not funny. And yes, it is the Republicans' fault. They have control of the executive and legislature and judicial branches. It's on them.
It is day 2 of the federal government shutdown, and that means many employees of the federal government are having to report to work without being paid. Morale is low, anxiety is high, I can tell you that much. My husband is a federal employee. He has a commute of an hour and 20 minutes one way. He drives almost 3 hours commuting for his job a day, 5 days a week. Okay, that's crazy. My heart feels so heavy for all of the families that are being affected by this. This is just unnecessarily stressful, to say the least. Anyways, this is me posting trying to get to 10K so I can monetize my TikTok to contribute to my household while all of this is happening. I was not expecting my TikTok to take off like it did yesterday. The support that I felt from you guys was incredible. And I've gained thousands of followers. I wish I could hug every single one of you. Thank you so much. You are my people. You are my people, okay? And this is America.
Undocumented immigrants in the United States cannot receive health insurance from Obamacare, from Medicaid, from Medicare. They are barred from doing so. And if you tell me, oh, but I know my tia, I primo, they're doing that illegally. That is illegal. Okay? And the Republicans, all of the maggots, are saying that Democrats didn't want to vote on the spending bill that would have kept the government open because they're dying on the hill of giving health care to illegals. No, the reason the government is shutting down is because the Democrats refused to join a vote on the spending bill that would keep the government open or would reopen it at this point. Why? Because MAGA wants to gut health care in this country for millions of people, even more than they already have. So what happens now? Hundreds of thousands of people in this country are furloughed, right? Federal workers are furloughed, meaning they are given unpaid leave. And whenever the government ramps back up, they're going to come back to work. And aside from that, there are many other people who work in very essential jobs. For example, like air traffic control people. They're working right now with no pay. And they're going to have to wait until all of this is sorted out to be able to receive retroactive pay. So no, Democrats aren't to blame. We have a Republican-controlled House, Senate, Supreme Court, presidency. They are in full control of what is happening in this country right now. And if they don't want to solve these things, the least Democrats can do is do this as protest. Force them to come to the table to make concessions on these topics that need concessions to be made. I actually have a good example of how healthcare works with undocumented immigrants. Stick with me. An uncle of mine lived here in the US, in Miami specifically, for many, many years. And one day he had a really, really gruesome workplace accident. We thought he quite literally died, right? He fell off a roof. And it was so bad that when they called the ambulance, the Jackson helicopter from Jackson Memorial Hospital here in Miami, they came to pick him up and took him all the way to Ryder Trauma. They did emergency surgery on him. They stabilized him, all that. Thankfully, he's still alive, right? He's living in Honduras now. But the thing is, that's all, right? They only stabilize people who are undocumented here in the US. If they want to get more healthcare, more, attention, medical attention, they need to either pay out of pocket or be in some kind of life or death situation where an ambulance or a doctor is not going to be like, oh, wait, you're undocumented? Yeah, let me not save your life because you're an illegal. That's not how things work, at least for now, in the United States. So yeah, if you are directly or indirectly affected, which I think we all are, by a government shutdown, you know who to blame. It's MAGA, it's Trump, and it's the Republican Party.
So this whole time, right, the Democrats have been saying that they have been trying to work with Republicans. They have been trying to work with Republicans to keep the government open, right? There was that photo that went viral of the Democrats on the floor, ready and willing to start talking with Republicans, and the Republicans nowhere to be found, right? But Caroline Leavitt, that bitch, my God, but she let it slip, right? Because the Republicans are saying it's the Democrats. The Democrats are the ones who are shutting down the government. So I said this before, and I'm going to say it again. The Republicans control the House, the Republicans control the Senate, and the Republicans control the White House. So if the government shuts down, that is due to poor leadership on the Republicans' part, right? And the fact that they just admitted to not even wanting to negotiate, that's all you need to know about how much that party cares about the American people. Because now our government is shut down, there could be massive layoffs, and the Republicans are okay with it. So much so that they were so unwilling to show up to their fucking jobs, right? And just try to negotiate with the Democrats. That was too hard for them.
All right, folks, thank you so much for always come back to watch our video. Thank you so much for always supporting our channel. Now, we're talking about government shutdown, mass layoffs that is happening. And we've seen the anger and demoralization among the federal workers, including those who may align with the MAGA movement, okay? Because during the government shutdown that includes threats of mass layoffs can be attributed to several factors that go beyond the usual financial stress. Traditionally, a government shutdown results into a temporary fall-off for non-exempt employees with the understanding that they will receive back pay once the government reopens. This shutdown was different because the Administration Office of Management and Budget, or MB, elected its agencies to use the lapse in funding as an opportunity to prepare for a permanent mass layoffs through a reduction in force RIF process. This move fundamentally changed the nature of a shutdown for federal workers from a temporary, though painful wait to an existence crisis for their careers. This is a level of job insecurity unprecedented for a typical shutdown and impact all federal employees, regardless of political affiliation, threatening their stable employment and long-term financial planning. So federal workers felt targeted and villainized by the rhetoric and actions come from the executive branch, including the threats of mass firing. The administration openly suggests using the shutdown to carry out its agenda to reduce federal work force. The administration leadership stated that the shutdown provided an opportunity to get rid of things that we don't want, or there will be Democrat things, which was interpreted many federal employees as using their jobs as bargaining chip to gain political advantage. This created profound sense of betrayal and low morale as workers who perform like public services, even those who may support, the DT's political party, felt their livelihoods were being recklessly endangered for a political fight. This comes to a threat to job stability and civil service norms, because the threat using a funding lapse to initiate RIFC is breaking from past precedent and is seen by workers and union as unlawful abuse of power that targets the non-partisan nature of federal civil services, because the civil services for merit based on employment and protection from political violence by linking the layoffs to programs whose funding would lapse and are not consistent with the president's priorities. The administration appears to be using the shutdown mechanism to bypass standard civil services protection and fire employees based on perceived political alignment, or simply achieve a goal of overall workforce reduction. Man, this makes every federal employee, including those with MAGA sympathy, feel that their job security is entirely dependent on the political whims of the current administration. Then it takes us to financial hardship without promise of back pay of those laid off, like the way it used to be. While far-left employees are legally guaranteed back pay once the shutdown ends, those who are permanently laid off through a reduction in force, which is called RIF, has no such guarantee and immediately face unemployment. The immediate financial hardship for approximately 750,000 for left workers who got without paycheck but are eventually paid back is known as a stressor of shutdown. However, facing permanent RIF means the worker loses their job, their health benefits, and their guaranteed income stream, forcing them to quickly look for new work. This is significant, irreversible financial emotion blow that can turn a temporary disruption into a total loss of career and income. So the combination of mass layoff threat for laughs and working without pay on top of previous administration efforts to reduce federal workers caused extreme levels of anxiety and demoralization among federal employees. Reports indicate that federal workers were on the edge and just beaten, with many immediately using their for-laugh time to apply for private sector jobs. This brain drain of skilled long-time public servants harms the government's ability to function, the realization that their services is not valued and their careers are being used as a political weapon, which can be infuriating to a workforce that believes in public services mission regardless which party is in power. All this that happened, it is affecting each and everybody, including MAGA. Yes, including MAGA who voted for this. They are saying it's the Democrats who did it. And they're saying it's this and who did it, man. But what we know is that the MAGA or the Republicans are the one who have power right now to do what they're doing. So this mass layoff, it may be on them because they're the one causing this. Then it comes to cries, tears of these MAGA workers who are losing their jobs, and then they voted for this administration. So it is so crazy for them because it is going to affect them bigly. You F around, you find out. So nothing sweeter than a MAGA tears that is crying who lost their jobs. Folks, tell me what do you think about this? Tell me what do you think about MAGA, man. It is taking another level. Many people are going to lose jobs because of this mass layoff. Let's keep a conversation in the comments below. I am a presenter, Fikazo.